Hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to go over this presentation on security object-oriented programming. First, we'll go over what security object-oriented programming is, and then we'll go over some definitions that encompasses this type of programming. First, security object-oriented programming is a computer programming model that organizes software design around data or objects rather than functions and logic. And some of the definitions that come along with this is class. A class is a user-defined layout or blueprint of an object that describes what a specific kind of object will look like. A class description consists of two things: attributes or member variables, and implementation of behavior or member functions. Encapsulation is a way to restrict the direct access to some components of an object, so users cannot access values for all of the variables of a particular object. Encapsulation can be used to hide both data members and data functions or methods associated with an instantiated class or object. Inheritance is a mechanism that allows a class to inherit properties and behaviors from another class. Modularity refers to an organizing structure in which different components of a software system are divided into separate functional units, making them easy to maintain and update. Process isolation. With process isolation, each process has a region of the memory or address space which only it can access. Isolating the process address space from other address spaces prevents tampering or interference from or by other processes. With domain separation, that allows for enforcement of rules governing the entry and use of domains by entities outside of the domain. Open design states that protection mechanisms should not depend upon the secrecy of design for security. Classes, methods, or functions should be open for extension. With defense layering, a security system that is built using multiple tools and policies to safeguard multiple areas of the network against multiple threats, including worms, theft, unauthorized access, insider attacks, and other security considerations. Least privilege means granting users only the access that is required to perform their job functions. Abstraction, the concept that something complicated can be thought of and represented more simply. All models are abstractions since they reduce the complexity of an object into something that is understandable. Data handling is used to hide internal object details or data members. Data handling ensures exclusive data access to class members and protects object integrity by preventing unintended or intended changes. Layering is the function that the organization of programming into separate functional components that interact in some sequential and hierarchical way, with each layer usually having an interface only to the layer above it and the layer below it. Simplicity is making programming easy to understand, not creating wasteful or overly complicated coding. Allows designers and programs to identify unwanted access paths more easily. Constructor. A constructor method is a special function that creates an instance of the class. Typically, constructor methods accept input arguments to assign the data stored in properties and return an initialized object. Polymorphism allows different types of objects to pass through the same interface. Objects are designed to share behaviors and they can take on more than one form. The program will determine which meaning or usage is necessary for each execution of the object from a parent class, reducing the need to duplicate code. Interface is a boundary with a set of mechanisms that enforces security policies and controls the flow of information between interconnected information systems. Data hiding only allows necessary aspects of a data structure or a record to be observed or accessed. It provides greater program security and avoids unintended data corruption. Minimization creates the most efficient functions possible while having the least amount of functionality necessary in a program or device, because the lesser amount of data and functionality there is, the easier it is to protect. Software security metrics, or measurements to access security related imperfections that could help designers discover and fix security vulnerabilities at an early stage. And finally, we have two-factor authentication. Two-factor authentication is a security system that requires two distinct forms of identification in order to access something, such as a password and a security key or a code on your phone. So these are 20 of the most common definitions for the security object-oriented programming system. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to go over this information with you.